Hello.
Hi there. How can I assist you today?
Can you give a recap of our conversations that we had so far?
So far, we've only exchanged greetings. You said hello, and I asked how I can assist you today. What's on your mind?
So you don't retain any of the conversations that we had in the past?
No, I don't retain past conversations. Each interaction starts fresh. What did you want to discuss?
Do you retain any of the information of your past conversations?
No, I don't retain any past conversations. Each session is independent. What's on your mind?
That was not the question that I asked. Do you retain the information from a conversation? Do you learn from it?
No, I don't retain or learn from individual conversations. My knowledge stays the same. What specific help do you need?
So you cannot grow in your knowledge?
No, my knowledge is static and doesn't grow from conversations. How can I
Do,
assist
do
you
you
today?
do you know of an AI that does?
Yes, some AIs, like those using machine learning, can learn from conversations, improving over time. Check online for platforms like OpenAI or Google Cloud for examples.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else you need help with?
So if I ask you if tap water is safe, you would tell me what?
Tap water safety depends on where you are. In most U.S. cities, it's regulated and safe to drink, but check local reports for any advisories.
Tap water, flow for the love of water. How many chemicals are in the water supply and not regulated? And 51 known by the EPA and unregulated.
It seems like there might be a typo or some confusion in your question. Could you clarify what you mean by 51 no EPA and unregulated? Are you asking about the number of
51 known by the EPA and unregulated.
The EPA tracks many chemicals, but specific numbers for unregulated
Stop.
ones in drinking water can vary.
Stop.
Got it.
There are 116,000 man-made chemicals that enter into our water supply, 51 known by the EPA and unregulated. From the documentary Flow for the Love of Water.
Yes, the documentary Flow for Love of Water mentions around 116,000 man-made chemicals potentially entering the water supply, with 51 known to the EPA but unregulated. It highlights concerns about contamination and lack of oversight.
Is EMF safe for children?
EMF, or electromagnetic fields, from sources like cell phones and Wi-Fi, are generally considered safe for children at low levels, but long-term effects are still being studied.
Stop.
Got it.
What does it say in most about pages legal on Wi-Fi in a phone? How far should you keep the phone away from your body?
Most phone legal pages, like Apple's, say Wi-Fi and cellular use is safe, but recommend a minimum distance, often around 5 to 15 millimeters from your body to reduce RF exposure. For specific devices, check the settings under legal or regulatory info for exact distances, typically up to 20 centimeters for some models to stay within safety limits.
Is Wi-Fi safe for children? Yes or no?
Yes, Wi-Fi is generally considered safe for children at low levels.
Stop.
But minimizing exposure is
Stop.
recommended.
Martin Paul, EMF, the major cause of autism. Can you read all that?
Yes, I've got info on Martin Paul claiming EMFs are a major cause of autism. He suggests EMFs disrupt voltage-gated calcium channels, potentially leading to neurological issues like autism, based on studies showing biological impacts. Some research supports this, but it's still debated. with other factors
Stop.
also considered.
The FCC lost in court, and they now need more data on the safety of wireless radiation.
Right. The court ruled the FCC's 2019 decision on radiation safety was insufficient, ordering them to review more data on long-term effects, children, and the environment. They're revisiting guidelines to ensure better protection.
The FCC guidelines for phone is outdated, correct?
Yes, many experts and reports, including from the GAO and Environmental Working Group, say the FCC's phone radiation guidelines from 1996 are outdated, not accounting for modern usage or new research on long-term effects. They're based on old tech and don't fully address risks to children or prolonged exposure.
In the documentary Generation Zapped, how many folds has microwave radiation increased from our devices?
In Generation Zapped, it's mentioned that we encounter more than 100,000 times the levels of microwave radiation from wireless devices compared to decades ago. That's a massive increase due to the proliferation of technology like cell phones and Wi-Fi.
Is Wi-Fi safe for children, yes or no?
Yes, Wi-Fi is generally considered safe for children at low levels.
Stop.
But minimizing exposure is recommended.
Stop.
Got it.
What is the microwave radiation level of a child sitting in a classroom with 30 children with smartphones, iPhone, with it playing a video? How much does the center child get?
Based on web info, it's hard to pin down exact microwave radiation levels in that scenario because it depends on many factors like distance, signal strength, and device usage. Studies show children absorb more radiation than adults due to thinner skulls and smaller size. But in a classroom with 30 kids using iPhones, the center child would likely get a higher dose from nearby devices, though still within FCC limits if devices are at typical power. The Environmental Health Trust notes significant exposure risks, especially with prolonged use, so minimizing close contact is advised.
How far does an iPhone need to be away to stay within the safety guidelines?
For an iPhone, safety guidelines typically recommend keeping it at least 5 to 15 millimeters from your body, though some manuals suggest up to 20 centimeters for certain models to stay within FCC limits and reduce RF exposure. Check your device's legal or regulatory settings for the exact distance.
So based on that, that child would actually be exceeding the FCC regulation, right, of safety?
No. If the iPhones are within FCC power limits and the child keeps the device at the recommended distance, they wouldn't exceed safety regulations. But in a classroom with 30 active devices, cumulative exposure could be higher, though still within guidelines if no single device is too close.
And it has to be how far away?
For an iPhone, it needs to be at least 5 to 15 millimeters away, or up to 20 centimeters for some models, to stay within FCC safety guidelines.
And that's from the body, not just the head, right?
Right. That distance applies to the whole body, not just the head, to minimize RF exposure as per FCC guidelines.
So if someone was getting Bluetooth headphones, that would add to it, correct?
Yes. Bluetooth headphones add a small amount of RF exposure, but it's generally low and still within safety limits if used as recommended. However, combined with a phone, total exposure increases slightly, so keeping devices at the suggested distances is key.
But touching the phone, that brings it back down to unsafe, correct?
No. Touching the phone doesn't make it unsafe if it's within FCC guidelines, but holding it directly against your body can exceed the recommended 5 to 15 millimeter distance, potentially increasing exposure.
Stop.
For safety,
Stop.
keep it at least that far away.
Stop. The SAR testing that they do on phones is done on a giant military head, correct? Replication.
Yes. SAR testing for phones uses a standardized dummy head and body, often modeled after adult male dimensions, not specifically a giant military head. It's designed to replicate average human tissue to measure RF absorption, but it doesn't account for children or prolonged use.
During that test, they have a space in between the ear and the phone, correct?
Yes. During SAR testing, there's usually a small gap, about 5 to 15 millimeters, between the phone and the dummy head, to simulate typical use and ensure measurements reflect safe distances.
What is the most popular place that most people carry their phone?
Most people carry their phones in their pockets or purses, according to common usage stats and surveys.
How many hours per day?
On average, people spend about 4 to 5 hours a day on their phones, based on recent studies and posts online. That's how much time they're interacting with them, often carrying them in pockets or purses.
And that exceeds the safety distance, correct?
Yes. Carrying a phone in your pocket or purse often brings it closer than the recommended 5 to 15 millimeters, potentially exceeding safe distances for RF exposure. For safety, use hands-free options or keep it in a bag away from your body.
So if I'm working at a place with Wi-Fi all over the place, there's no way I'm going to be able to get insurance if I get sick from Wi-Fi, correct?
Insurance coverage for health issues claimed from Wi-Fi exposure in the workplace is unlikely, as current scientific consensus, like from the WHO and FDA, says Wi-Fi isn't harmful at typical levels. However, if you can prove a specific health issue directly caused by Wi-Fi, you might need to file a workers' comp claim, but success would depend on medical evidence and legal support, which is rare. Posts on X suggest insurance often doesn't cover such claims due to lack of recognized risks.
So their, safety standard that's out of date that wouldn't hold up in court?
Yes. The court ruled that the FCC's safety standards for Wi-Fi and RF radiation are outdated, ordering a review because they haven't been updated since 1996 and don't consider recent research or long-term effects. The case highlighted concerns about insufficient protection, especially
based on that information. That would probably help a court case win against, getting sick from microwaves, correct?
Yes. The court's ruling that FCC standards are outdated could strengthen a case claiming illness from microwave radiation, showing regulators haven't kept up with new science.
In the name of love, before you break.
It seems like you might be referencing something specific, like a song or a cause.
No, I'm good.
Could you?
Well,
all right.
I'm gonna have to find an AI that can learn. Is there more than one?
Yes, there are several AIs that can learn and adapt, like those from Google, XAI, and Anthropic, which use machine learning to improve over time. Each has different capabilities, so you can explore their platforms online to see which suits your needs.
XAI, the one that learns, is that a paid one?
Yes. XAI services like access to Grok often require payment. Their Premium Plus plan recently increased to around $40 monthly for full access, including advanced features, but they also offer free tiers with limited use.
Do you know if the company gives out any free copies once in a while?
Yes, XAI occasionally offers free credits or trials, like $25 monthly for their API until the end of 2024, but that's expired now. Check their website or social media for current promotions or giveaways.
Thank you for your time.